Joy Behar. Speaking of ridiculous people on television, there's a real theme to the show today. Joy Behar, and first off, Joy, if you're watching this, I used to love you. I really did. Joy was a decent liberal. She was very funny. If you watch, I mean, not that I would recommend anyone ever watch The View or go back and watch old episodes, but if you remember that first season when Rosie O'Donnell was on The View, this is back, how many years ago? What year was the first year that Rosie O'Donnell was on The View? This is over 10 years ago at this point, probably like 12 years ago or so. When Rosie was the moderator and Joy was just a panelist, I used to watch The View all the time, and Elizabeth Hasselbeck was on there. She was the conservative at the time, and it really was a good show. It was people talking about politics that disagreed, but they respected each other. It was decent. Wow, 2006, O'Donnell replaced Meredith Vieira. So, geez, 15 years ago was the season I'm talking about. It really was a good show, and they were talking about the Obama movement, which was sort of just starting, and they were talking about the Iraq War and all of these things that were important and relevant and everything else, okay? And then they would do a segment on like how to clean your house or something, then I would tune out. But the Hot Topics thing was actually pretty good. And Joy was decent, and I used to live a block or two away from Joy in New York City. I used to bump into her and her husband on the street. We talk about comedy. I've interviewed her a couple times on my old Sirius XM show and on some red carpets and things, and she was a decent liberal. But something has happened to the decent liberals, and almost all of them have gone completely off the deep end and just freaking lost their minds. Again, because Trump just broke these people. And I would say if you're a decent liberal who's not insane at this point, you're a conservative. In any event, Joy was on The View yesterday, and listen to what she said about my friend and journalist, true journalist, who's been on the front lines uncovering what Antifa is doing in our cities, Andy Ngo. Let's take a look.
The banjo player from the group Mumford & Sons, Winston Marshall, announced that he's leaving the band after getting blowback for praising a far right-wing pundit's book about Antifa. In a post on Medium, Marshall claims he doesn't want his views to bring down his bandmates. So leaving is the only way he can speak freely?
Yeah, I've been following this for a while when he first tweeted about Andy Ngo, and even the way Andy Ngo is introduced like on this show, that he's a right-wing crazy person. I don't know where that came from. He's actually a very brave journalist that I believe is in the hospital right now. And he has been reporting, the only person that's been reporting about Antifa in Portland for the past 2 years. And Antifa is so bad over there, the National Guard was sent in to try and help keep Portland under control. They had an autonomous zone where people were getting killed and raped, and it had to be disbanded. Like, he's just reporting, and it's very strange to me that he's been turned into someone that could make someone in Mumford & Sons leave the band. His statement is really fascinating, and I thought it was really well done. He was saying just because you're calling out hypocrisy on the left doesn't make you a right-wing extremist as well.
Okay, so obviously well said, Meghan McCain right there. It's nice to see someone actually defending something close to honesty and truth and everything else. I don't know that Andy Ngo is in the hospital right now, but I will tell you this. He was invited to my birthday party this weekend, and I was actually willing to fly him out here, but he wanted to rest up because he does have injuries related to some of his reporting and what Antifa is doing to him. Okay, that is a fact. That is out of his mouth, okay? The idea that Joy Behar would call him a far right-wing pundit. Now, far right-wing pundit, when you say far right-wing pundit, what is that implication? The implication is racist, right? Like, number one, it's racist. It's usually homophobic. Now, Andy happens to be gay, but I guess you could be a gay homophobe these days if you're not a leftist. It's that you are against the other, right? You're prejudiced. I don't even know. It doesn't really mean anything at this point. It just, in essence, what Joy Behar is saying is evil, right? She's saying evil person Andy Ngo. Now, Andy Ngo has been under attack, physical assault, and has been violently attacked by people many, many times. Joy Behar doesn't seem to care about that. Now, I'll give Joy the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt would be that Joy Behar doesn't know what she's talking about, and she's just reading a script that they put in front of her, right? She was obviously reading off a teleprompter for that intro. So, Joy, I will go out of my way here to give you the benefit of the doubt, and perhaps you will apologize for reading the lies that your producer put in front of you. That will be what I will do for you here, Joy, in the name of the fact that you were once a decent liberal. But this is absolutely disgusting. Now, it would be far more fair for me to say that Joy Behar is a far left lunatic. She is a far lefty. She wants the government to do absolutely everything. She thinks that everyone who is against her is a bigot and a racist and a homophobe. And I would also argue that at that point, once you've accepted those things, you're pretty much a lunatic, okay? And you can get Joy to take almost any position on anything depending on what Trump believes. So you may remember back a few months ago, I think we covered it, when who is the white supremacist? Who's the leader of the alt-right? Remember that guy, Richard Spencer? Remember that guy, Richard Spencer? I can't even remember his name because these people are irrelevant. But at one point during the presidential campaign, Richard Spencer said he was no longer gonna support Donald Trump, and Joy Behar brought that up on The View, and the audience applauded. So they were applauding. Joy was instigating the audience to applaud for the white supremacists because at least the white supremacist is against Trump. These people are all completely bananas. They're a combination of like compulsive chronic liars and just off the rockers bananas nuts.